Welcome to Alternative Investments Chat,
where we demystify the world of alternative investments and financing for entrepreneurs and investors alike.
With these discussions, we hope you're more empowered to unlock opportunities in your business or portfolio. I'm Erin.
And I'm Erica. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Alternative Investments Chat. Today, we're diving into the world of coin investing. Now, we're not just talking pocket change here, but coins that are tangible assets with historical and intrinsic value.
Yeah.
So when I think of the stereotypical coin collector, I think of either a little boy picking up coins off the ground or a much older gentleman, very distinguished. I picture salt and pepper hair, a mustache,
Yeah.
That's what I think about.
Yeah,
Like a grandpa.
It seems like those are the two people who you come across most often who are into coins.
Yeah.
My grandpa, in fact, was also a coin collector, and after he passed, there was a lot of fighting over the coins, not exactly for the sentimental reasons, but because they potentially, people were wondering, were they worth money?
Yeah.
And wanted to be the winner chicken dinner of that.
Well, were any of them worth money?
Not that we know of so far, but I'm removed. I don't really care about that. But what I do care about is informing our listeners about coins and how they could be a potential good alternative investment to add to your portfolio.
Great.
So they offer, what's cool, a unique blend of collectability, precious metal content, and historical significance. So let's dive in together and learn a little bit more.
Tell me about it.
So, as you said, it's a little bit more complex than just picking up coins off the street. That might work really well for those young kids who are trying to pad their, piggy banks. But we want to look at the big players. We want to be interested in where the real money is here. So although coins are a form of currency, right, they fall under the collectibles asset class, actually. And coin investing encompasses an entire range of different kinds of coins. This could be bullion coins like American Eagles. We've talked about a little bit about those bullion coins on here before. We talked a bit about gold and precious metals.
Yeah.
And also rare collectible coins, like, for example, there was a 1933 double eagle that sold for $18.9 million. So there's some big money here, potentially.
Did you check your grandpa's stash for that one?
I'm pretty sure he doesn't have that one, but yeah, if he did, good on him.
Good on him.
And good on whoever gets it.
Yeah, exactly. So, in fact, there's a lot of categories of coins here. So let's start with those bullions that you were mentioning earlier. We've talked about these in a previous episode, like you mentioned. So these coins include a Canadian gold maple leaf.
Love that.
American gold eagles, and those South African Krugerrands. I like those ones. I just think it sounds fun to say.
Cool word. So
bullion coins are made from precious metals, valued primarily by weight and purity, not necessarily their rarity.
Okay.
So characteristics of these bullion coins are they are legal tender. Although most of the time, I don't think anyone's going to throw out a Krugerrand to pay for anything.
Yeah,
during a transaction. First of all, if you handed it to, anyone younger than us, they're going to be like, why did you give me Monopoly money?
Sure. Also, like, how do you even convert that into change?
You're like, I don't know how much this is worth.
Yeah.
So they're issued in as standard weights. So you've got 1 ounce, half ounce, quarter ounce. And they're made of really high purity of either gold, silver, platinum, or even palladium.
Yep.
They're often very beautifully designed with consistent, recognizable quality. So they're stunningly beautiful. Like, not that a penny's stunningly beautiful, but think about it. Every single penny looks exactly the same. Every single nickel looks exactly the same.
Sure.
That's what you're looking at with these ones.
Yeah.
But their value is tied very closely to the spot price of the metal that they're made of. Gold, silver, whatever.
Right.
So bullion coins can be a very good way for a brand new investor to get exposure to the precious metals market very easily. Because again, you're just picking up those coins. You're not going to find a Krugerrand on the ground, but you know what I mean? If you can find some of those, that's a great way to have, instead of having a full gold bar, having a gold coin might be kind of cool.
Yeah, it can be a good way to get involved in that, kind of break into that kind of investing.
Mhm.
Next up, we want to cover proof coins. Now, these are specifically minted to be the highest quality, and they are considered the most beautiful version of the coin. They usually have like a special kind of mirror finish or frosted finishes that gives them more interest.
Yeah.
And this type of coin overlaps a bit with the bullion coins because you can have proof versions of bullions,
Got it.
like a proof version of an American gold eagle.
Yeah.
There are also proof versions of common American coins, like your pennies, your nickels, your dimes, that are produced annually by the U.S. Mint. Those are typically, not the most expensive coins, but they are beautiful to look at. So if you're a collector, might be fun to check out.
Yeah. I think of like the 50-cent piece. I have like a 50-cent piece that came in like a little plastic sleeve.
Right.
Who knows what relative bought it on a late night, advertising.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you like bullion? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't watch TV
Call
that.
now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I definitely have one. I think those are funny.
Yeah, and they're cool, right? They're
Yeah.
fun to look at. Proof coins are often sold at a premium compared to their non-proof version. So like a proof coin of like a penny is going to be worth more than 1 cent.
Got it.
So that's a good way of thinking about it. So now let's also take a look at commemorative coins. Now, these are issued by governments to honor usually specific events, maybe people, maybe anniversaries of like a war or independence, or maybe a specific president, or like the Olympics. Lots of different things that could be turned into commemorative coins. These can be circulating, used as legal tender, or non-circulating, collector items only. And they're often, again, sold at a premium over that face value. And there can actually be proof versions of commemorative coins as well. So you can see how you have a Venn diagram. There's a lot of circles happening with some overlap. And premiums can be harder to recover on these kinds of coins. So typically, these are not the kinds of coins that we're looking at in terms of an investment piece.
Got it.
Can be, doesn't mean that they can't, but typically it's not usually a commemorative coin.
Got it. So now let's talk about numismatic, the best word in the English dictionary.
It's a little
Numismatic coins. So these coins are valued primarily for their historical significance,
Right.
their rarity, their age, and even their condition, not just the metals that they're actually made out of. So unlike these proof coins that we've been talking about, these don't have to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when I think of a non-perfect coin, I think of when you take a penny and you put it on the railroad track and you drive it over and it smishes it out. They actually have machines and a lot of
pressed
penny.
Yeah.
So these coins are rare and significant due to minting errors. So for example, there was a 1955 double die Lincoln cent.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the most famous error coins produced by the United States Mint. So this coin is sought after, very highly sought after by collectors. So the text actually appears to kind of be stamped twice, like it was like pink, pink.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of blurry. Some of the lines, some of the words are blurry, and most notably on the words liberty and in God we trust.
Got it.
So these coins are super, super rare, either due to low mintage or that there's not very many out there surviving still.
Sure.
Right. They might be in your grandpa's collection. We've got to get a hold of this damn collection. And they're actually graded on what's called the Sheldon scale from 0 to 70, 70 being the best.
Right.
Why it doesn't go to 100, I don't know. I am not Sheldon.
Yeah.
So there are other coin types that we've discussed. They could also be numismatic coins, depending on their characteristics and the grading on that Sheldon scale.
Right.
So for example, there's that 1933 double eagle that we mentioned earlier.
Yep.
That's a numismatic bullion coin.
Yes. Great. Good examples for sure.
Yeah.
So investors might be drawn to investing in coins for lots of different reasons. So let's jump into that. One of them being hedging against inflation, diversifying their portfolio, or the allure of owning actually like a piece of history.
Yeah.
There's a scarcity and a story that's associated with these rare coins, and they typically carry historical narratives. And this might be a great investment for those history buffs out there because you get to kind of own and invest in a piece of history. So let's look at a fascinating example. The Ides of March denarius. This is a coin that was commemorating Caesar's assassination.
Yes.
This coin features a portrait of Brutus, one of the people who was responsible for the assassination of Caesar, and is an outright celebration of his death. Like, yeah, Caesar's dead. Use this coin.
Use this coin.
Yeah.
I would be mortified if someone killed me and then they got a coin.
Yeah, that'd be a big bummer. You would have to be a really like crappy person.
Well, I mean, I'm sure I'd get
or
like
piss off the right person, I guess.
I mean, the only thing I'm probably guaranteed to get is like a Dateline special on if someone murders me, but ain't nobody getting no coin off me. That's for sure.
Let's hope.
If they do, you better believe I'm coming back and haunting them.
Yeah, haunt the coins. So this coin was minted 2 years after Caesar's death in 42 BC, and it sold in an auction in 2020 for $3.5 million. So pretty crazy that all those years later, this coin is selling for that much. And this coin is not just a lucrative investment, but actually a piece of history, right? It helps us understand the past and learn from human experience. It's a piece of the story about Caesar and how much people wanted him to be gone. So I know that this is a bit of a special example. Not many people are going to be, finding coins from
Brutus on it.
Yeah, exactly. But for the, retail investor, you might find a different option, maybe not a coin that's worth millions, but every coin is minted for a reason, and the story behind it can be fascinating and even can lend to its value.
I love those stories. I love a good story.
Yeah, this is, what drives us, right? We all want to be the person with the $3.5 million coin eventually. Yeah. So there's also the tangibility factor that plays into coins. So they're actually like a physical asset, right?
Right.
They can be held and they can be stored. Physical coins are protected from things like cyber threats and bank failures, right? People sometimes feel really good about owning something directly, and also you get to enjoy them. If they are that, piece of history, you can actually look at them and
show your grandkids.
Sure, exactly. And enjoy them while you have them. Mm-hmm. And also something they have, that portability factor, and they're a high value asset in a compact form. Throughout history, there have been times of unimaginable, unforeseeable events where different people from all around the world have had to flee for political instability reasons or economic, downfall. And gold coins are one of the few things that people can, stash in their pockets and take with them, besides like jewelry, right? For people who are lucky enough to have them, it's an easy thing to stash with you and hopefully utilize that to gain some money on the other side wherever you're going. Very difficult to, strap on some antique furniture and disappear into the night without anybody noticing, or, all your silverware. You're going to be clanging down the street.
We were talking about late night infomercials. There is a infomercial with the two straps that you can. I
know exactly what you're talking about.
On a refrigerator or a
they're
washer
moving
dryer.
a piano.
Yes, and it's like two straps that you have it on their back.
Yes.
I'm thinking I might move I bet I could get a hutch with some good china out.
Yeah,
with two of those straps.
I'd love to see you try. That's all I gotta say. And I think that'd be a good advertisement for that, company, for the straps.
Yeah, write that down. We're definitely going to have to do a sidebar on that and see if we can.
Writing it down. The straps on late night TV that help you move heavy furniture.
Erica escaping for no reason whatsoever, but with a china hutch on her back.
Yeah, exactly.
Done and done. All right. Okay. So coins, they also have diversification. We can stay on that topic of moving heavy furniture for far too long. So I'll move us right along.
Nice.
Coins, they often have a very low correlation with the stock market, as we know. So in times, again, of financial uncertainty or market turbulence, coin values may remain stable, or they actually might even rise. Again, if the coin is made of gold, prices of gold have been going up.
Mm-hmm.
So gold has shown resilience in time of economic uncertainty. We've talked about it as the safe haven in one of our other episodes. So for example, during both the Great Recession and the pandemic, gold prices rose dramatically as investors fled that stock market because that little arrow was going all over the place.
Toilet paper and gold.
Toilet paper is gold.
I guess.
Yeah,
You would have
right.
thought during the pandemic for sure.
Well, who knows? Gold bullion, who knows? So gold bullion coins may keep an investor afloat if they are going through these tough times.
Right.
So they also, there's also an inflation hedge.
Yep.
So precious metal coins retain their value over time, not just this time. They're viewed as hard money. For example, the value of the golden eagle is not dependent on the health of the U.S. government. The coin itself is made of material that makes it valuable.
Right.
So unlike a dollar bill that's just made of paper, this has got some good stuff in it.
Right.
So then there's also global demand for these coins. So central banks and investors worldwide continue to value coins. You don't have to sell a bullion coin in the country that originated, which is also very cool. So for example, there's an active market for Canadian gold maple leaves all over the world. In fact, I would love to buy one. Anybody have one? Put a comment. I'll come see you. So not every benefit though applies to every single type of coin. We've talked about collectibles in the past. Not every watch is a, multi-million-dollar watch, all that good stuff, shoes and things. So keep that in mind when you're actually investing in this type of asset. And like we always say, please make sure you do your research.
Yep.
Look it up.
Absolutely. So with research, it's time for us to talk about risks and considerations. There's more than what we listed here,
Yes.
but these are a few to get you started. Right. So there's a storage and insurance component to physical coins. They require you to store them, right? Mm-hmm. If you're holding valuable coins at home, getting a safe is probably a smart move. Remember how coins are super portable? Well, that means that, a little robber, a thief in the night, could also just stuff those coins into their pockets and leave away, without maybe you even noticing for a little while.
I hope if you have enough coins, it's going to jingle jangle on the way out.
Sure.
So maybe you'll hear the robber and you can call I was going to say Life Alert, but that's the wrong one.
That's another late night infomercial.
I really don't watch late night television, but
you're given a different impression. But so you want to be aware of that. And not only that, if you're storing numismatic coins, you want to think about keeping them in their mint condition because they are graded on that Sheldon scale. If they are kept properly, they're worth more. So you want to keep them mint. Yeah. Like an expensive jewelry piece, right? You'll probably want to get insurance on it in case a robber does come or, whatever happens. That will help ensure your collection and make sure that, if something bad happens that's unforeseen, you can at least recoup some of that money.
That's good.
Another thing to consider is market volatility. So the actual coin value fluctuates based on demand and market conditions, right? So the bullion coins are tied to precious metal prices. Mm-hmm. So not the traditional market, but precious metal prices, which can swing significantly based on things like global economic factors, inflation and deflation trends, central bank policy, and even supply and demand shocks. There's also with the numismatic coins, they are subject to the collector demand, which can be highly cyclical and speculative. If we're thinking about our previous episode with Beanie Babies, everybody wanted Beanie Babies. There's a big market for Beanie Babies, and then they kind of fell off. Everybody was done with the Beanie Babies. So, it's something to keep in mind that also applies to these collectible items. Yeah.
And then also, when you're doing your research, you want to make sure that these coins are real. So authenticity is definitely a risk here because there is the risk of counterfeit coins and they need that verification. To avoid this, investors should always verify authenticity through reputable grading services like Numismatic Guaranteed Company or the NGC. And then we also have the PCGS, which is the Professional Coin Grading Service.
Nice.
So you want to make sure you're getting those. They're going to tell you yay or nay if they're real.
Right.
So it also uses advanced technologies to prove tamper-proof certification slabs. Mm-hmm. So these steps significantly reduce the risk of getting a fake coin and protects your investment. Again, everyone knows I kind of love my fraud stories. And of course, there's one about coins because everything that is like tangible
everybody
or
wants
an asset
fraud.
class. There's
always
dupes.
a fraud story.
There's dupes for everything. So Okay, my listeners, I bring you to the 1943 copper penny scam. So in 1943, due to wartime metal shortages, the U.S. Mint produced pennies from zinc-coated steel instead of actually using copper. So, however, there were a few copper planchets or coin blanks that were left mistakenly in the machines, and they stuck onto the pennies. So these rare 1943 copper pennies are extremely valuable, some worth over $100,000.
Wow.
So because of this high value, counterfeits began copper plating ordinary pennies, just taking the reggae ones and doing that. So they were filing down the 8 to make it look like a 3.
Yeah.
So they thought that. So
liars.
Bunch of big fat fakers, as my mom calls them, big fat fakers. So many collectors, especially inexperienced ones, that would probably be me and you, they were duped into believing that they had a rare find.
Yeah.
So that really stinks sometimes.
Very.
Also, another risk with, I was going to say pennies, but with just gold coins and is liquidity. So selling rare coins may take time. And it depends on that market that you mentioned earlier, especially for the rarer, more obscure types. You have to wait for the right buyer. Or you might end up having to sell them at a discount, which is also kind of a sucky thing. If you bought this as an investment, then you end up selling it for less than what you bought it for.
Yeah, it's a bummer too.
Then another risk is that we have those premiums. So coins are often sold at a premium over spot price. So dealers will often mark the coins up. There's grading fees. There's insurance, like you mentioned. Yep. You don't want those robbers coming in and stealing all your coins. And then there's shipping costs, which can actually reduce your effective returns.
Right.
So
everybody's got to get paid.
Yeah, everyone wants a piece of the pie, right?
To you. Yeah.
Yeah. So different coins will actually have different premiums.
Right.
So again, do some market research to make sure you aren't being gouged.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you're getting your top dollar for the penny that you found on the ground. That might be a 1943 penny.
Yeah, absolutely. So for our listeners, how do you even get started in investing in coins if you wanted to? So each coin category has their own steps, but they should all start with education. For bullion coins, you want to dive into spot prices, premiums, and liquidity, really learn about those things. And for numismatic coins, you want to learn about grading systems, what makes certain coins desirable, and learn about counterfeits and how to spot them potentially, or how to use your resources to make sure you're not getting a counterfeit. But overall, it's probably easier to start with bullion coins as it's easier to understand and trade and liquidate if you need to. With bullion, you'll want to identify your investment goals. Are you wanting to hedge against inflation or hold on to your coins long term? And then next, you'll want to identify reputable dealers to work with. Avoid eBay if you're just getting started. I know Erica said drop me a comment if you have a coin to sell, but
I'll do my research. I'm going to take it to my people.
I'm just saying for our listeners that don't do that. Don't solicit coins from the internet. Because you never know what you're going to get. And you might want to start with the lower priced, more recognizable coins to get your foot in the door, and you can always build up your collection over time. No need to go all in all at once. And then once you have some of that experience underneath your belt, you can look into numismatics. You might want to start with a niche or a category. Maybe you're interested in ancient coins or U.S. coins from a certain era. And you can tailor it to your interests. And with bullion coins, you want to buy from those reputable sources. There are certified coin dealers and maybe even auction houses you might source from. As you mentioned earlier, you always want to be on the lookout for coins that have been graded by either the Professional Coin Grading Service or the NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company, to make sure that what you're getting is legit. And for both coins, you want to make sure that you are storing them correctly and keeping them safe, or else you're just essentially flushing that money down the drain.
Which will cost you more because you're going to have to call a plumber.
Right. You shouldn't
fix your pipe.
Don't put pennies down the drain.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. And I personally think that you can see why coin investing combines the allure of history, which I absolutely love, with tangible value, offering a unique avenue for diversification, which is the end-all be-all goal for our portfolio, is to get it very well diversified. So whether you're a collector or an investor, coins can add depth and resilience, don't forget, to your investment strategy, and a great way to potentially combine your personal interests with your financial goals.
Totally.
So, as always, thanks again for joining in. We hope this episode was very interesting as it was to us as well, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned for more insight on our next episode.
And don't forget to subscribe to continue the alternative investments chat.
See you next time.
Content provided in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as professional, financial, or investment advice. This podcast should not be construed as an offer to sell or a solicitation of any offer to buy any securities. We strongly recommend that you seek advice from a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.